Thank you guys so much for all the work that you did to support us in this trip. It was really helpful throughout the whole trip, so thank you so much. So as you know, we just went to Haiti. My whole family is my dad, my sister, and my mom. And so it's hot and it was hard, but we did what we were supposed to do. And so through this past trip, I guess it's just taught me like a different perspective on things. And so there was a day while we were there in this trip, it was like a day before we were going to leave. And this was the day that we had to finish the gardens. And I hadn't eaten anything, I was tired, and it was pretty rugged. And so I was mad, I was angry, and I was hot, and I don't know. And I looked around me, and it reminded me that I'm not entitled to everything that I have. I don't deserve what I have in America, and it taught me to be thankful for what I do have, and that God has blessed every one of us here, and that He's doing something special there. And thank you guys so much for supporting me. So thank you.
Okay, so my name is Rivers, and over this past trip, closer? Okay, sorry. So I think all of you probably have a preconceived notion about what poverty is and what poverty looks like and what situations people live in third world countries. And so that was me before this trip. I considered myself to have a pretty good grasp on the understanding of what poverty was and what situations these people were living in. And from the first minute we got there, I was radically changed, and that notion was radically changed for me, because even just driving down the street, you see the people and even just their clothes and their houses and the places that they get their water from and what they're doing. They're walking down the streets with chairs on their heads and baskets, and they have nothing. And this made me realize how blessed I am to be here in America and to have the things that I have, and to be able to have a grocery store to go to buy food, and a school to go to where my parents pay for my education, and I have a house and a roof over my head. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the fact that, yes, I'm blessed in the physical things, but I am nowhere near as blessed spiritually as they are. Because they are living in such deep poverty, they have a constant need for Christ, and they are constantly reaching out to Him every day for the things that they have. And because of this, they have a very strong, intimate relationship with Christ that I do not have, even though I'm blessed in the physical things here in America. And so this has just taught me to really delve down deep and really make an amazing and deep relationship with Christ through this, so that I would be able to have the same spiritual relationship with Him as they do. So.
I just have a quick video. You guys know we built gardens, so this video kind of just, yeah.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears have come.
Hey, sorry, can we just look into this one, please?
Yeah. With a melody,
It's only on this for you.
you surround me. Yeah.
think it's just easier to tell the story with pictures. So, most of you guys know Nicole, right? Like, many of you know her story, so I won't like dig into that whole thing. But that verse that I had up there, I feel like that is you guys. I feel like that's all of us together. I feel like that's Nicole. We're running this race to basically share the grace of God. And I just want to commend you guys. I know that you can't physically go parent those children, but Nicole could not be parenting those children without you. Absolutely. And so you're running that race, even though you're not sweating in Haiti every day, when you put your money in that bucket and you give to her every month. Naya, will you do that for me? Will you just push play on? I just want to do one by one. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember 3 years. Well, so Brett went 6 years ago, right after Dave died, to help Nicole get all the land stuff worked out. And the kids were super traumatized after Dave died, and so we wanted to do something great for them. So we collected swimsuits, and we were going to take them to the beach. And in effort to kind of recognize the people at home who made the effort to donate the swimsuits and get everything together, Brett and Nicole had all the kids take pictures in their swimsuits so that we could share the pictures with people who donated the swimsuits. So Brett comes home with these pictures, and I just was struck by this picture of this child. Like, I mean, literally left sleepless for nights over this, because you can see him clutching his belly. He's totally embarrassed, covering his face. And God was like, we have to get this fixed. He has a huge umbilical hernia. We have to get this fixed. That's like not a very good picture. But anyway, that's what he was covering up. And so I think you guys probably remember 3 years ago, there was a locum surgeon here who went with me to Haiti and did Eddie's surgery. And you guys contributed to that. Every time I've gone, you guys have supported and contributed. I know this seems like, okay, some kid in Haiti has a hernia. I am telling you, next picture, Naya, this is a different human being today. Completely different human being. When you ask Nicole, how is he different now? He's not even the same child. He is a leader, he is gentle, he is kind. She calls him Grandpa because if anybody's going to do anything right, it's going to be Eddie. He's always going to do the right thing. So I just wanted to give you a little recap on Eddie, because that was just a huge blessing to me. But the thing that I really want to talk about is not necessarily the gardens. I want to talk about what love does and what love looks like. When we were at the hospital for Eddie's surgery, the hospital staff came to Nicole and said, there is this kid. His father was murdered several years ago. His mother came into the hospital on her deathbed. They've been living on the streets. They've been eating feces. And she has now died, and he is roaming the courtyards like an animal. Go to the next picture. Literally roaming the courtyards like an animal. I've never seen anything like it. And they were like, Nicole, you have to take this kid. And Brett and I had already been like, Nicole, you can't take any more kids. Like, we can't do any more kids. And she prayed about it, and I was like, I don't know, Nicole. And she was like, I'll take him. I'll take him. So Nicole had business. I stayed in Port-au-Prince with Eddie for 2 days after his surgery just to give him some healing time. And I kept Watson in Port-au-Prince with me. This is Watson. This is that child. He is 11 years old in this picture. His wrists literally fit inside my fingers at that age. I stayed in the hotel with him for 2.5 days. He knew one English word, and it was F you. And he screamed it all day long. He slept no more than 45 minutes. He screamed, like, not screaming at me like my kids would scream at me when they're trying to irritate the crap out of me, but screaming like literally in terror all the time. And play acted out killing people all day long. All day long. That's all he did. I fell asleep for a few minutes during that 2 days, and he tried to defecate on me. I mean, messed up, traumatized, like beyond what you can even imagine. And I was like, Nicole, I don't know. I just don't know. And she was like, I prayed about it. And I always think Nicole is like a crazy lunatic. Seriously, in the beginning, I was like, this woman is nuts. Because every time something would come up, she'd just be like, Jesus, 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 it's Jesus. And I was like, hey, yeah, it's Jesus, but like, that's a scapegoat. Quit saying everything is Jesus. Like, we have real problems here. You know, and she's like, it's Jesus, Jesus. I mean, if I had a dime for every time Nicole texted me Jesus or said Jesus, I'd be a millionaire. And that's what she said. She said, it's Jesus. Jesus is going to do this. Jesus is going to do this. I'm like, all right, you're crazy and you're going to have to live with him, and I'm not. So today, this is Watson. 3 years later, he's the size of my kids. He speaks proficient English. In 3 years, he has learned to speak English as good as my children speak English. He's doing amazing in school. He is an incredible leader. He is gentle. He's kind. He's compassionate. He waited for us every morning by our door to get up. And he would say goodnight to us every night and leave us. Every morning, yes, Miss Jennifer, what are we going to do today, Miss Jennifer? The hardest worker of all the kids there. Nicole just lavished the love of God on him for 3 years. She just loved him in his screaming, in his profanity, in his tearing things up, in his suffering over the death of his mother, in his fear. She just loved him. And that is what you guys are doing. She loved him for you because you supported her to do that. I'm telling you, if you never do anything else again in your lives, the fact that you participated in this child being whole and healthy and functional, because this child is a leader and this child has the potential to affect people in that country and to share Jesus with people in that country. And he knows Jesus now. He knows the love of God. He knows what love does, and he is ready to do it. So I don't really want to talk about the gardens. I just want to say you guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing because it's legit and it's real, and we see it every year. You can show the last 2 pictures of him. He's precious. Precious. Thank you guys.
I know sometimes when you're so far away from a country and what's going on there, there's always a question in your mind of like, I put money in the bucket because I know that's where we're going, but I don't really know what it looks like. I don't know, is it really helping? Is it really doing, or why should we give to Haiti versus so many other ministries that are out there? And I know that rolls around in everyone's head, and when we ask that you would have God guide you in that process. But for me, it's been one of those things that, in my life of, I feel like I've experienced it firsthand, and it's not a person that I feel like I'm following in terms of Nicole going out there and being on the front lines of this. And I've told her this. I've said it's Jesus in you, and to kind of echo what Jennifer says, it's ultimately that I see Jesus in what Nicole is doing there, and so it's a legitimate, amazing ministry that's going on there. And I keep telling Nicole, how do you do this? How do you constantly go back and wake up in the morning? And she goes back to exactly the same thing. I have to pray every morning that God would get me out of bed, prepare me for this day, because I have no idea what's going to happen, and I don't want to go with an agenda. I just want God to lead me. And that humbles me. I just step back and think, what an amazing follower of Jesus. How can I be more like that? So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your generous support. Each and every one of you, giving financially, having the Lord put that on your heart in terms of praying, and all of the individual pieces that you guys, from making dresses to everything that you guys have done to support through the years. It's amazing what you've done there. So first of all, thank you for that. The other part of it is I ask God the same question of like, okay, I'm here, I'm in Haiti. Lord, what is it that you want me to know? And it just keeps coming back to the same exact thing of, it was the door to Nicole's room this time that actually spoke to me more than anything. And so the kids had decorated her door for Mother's Day. And so I just thought, there's a whole bunch of quotes and little notes and stuff from kids, and I kind of didn't even slow down, you know. My goal was to build these gardens, you know, so building the gardens. And one morning, I just felt like God said, you need to go read the door. You need to go read what the kids have written on the door. And there were just personal notes from the kids. And so I had a couple of them that I just wrote down. This one is from one of the girls there. Her name is Darlene. And she wrote this. She wrote, "Happy Mother's Day. I have nothing to give you, so I give you myself." Thank you, God, for showing me that. Then I thought, okay, well, read on. This one was from Jenny. You saw a picture of Jenny with one of the dresses that you guys created there. And she wrote, "A real mom is not just a woman who has kids. Instead, a real mom is a woman who shows her kids how it feels to be loved." And I thought, Nicole, you're doing it. You're Jesus to these kids. They don't have moms. They don't have dads. Many of them don't. They've seen massive trauma. And Nicole is that link to love that they've never had. And you can see transformations like Watson and Eddie and so forth. So as I was working out there in the garden, and there was one day I just went out there by myself. Nobody would go. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go do this. I'm going to get it done. I was covered with sweat, totally soaking wet with sweat. So I'm digging in the dirt, and these people walk by. There's two kind of kids, teenage kids, that walked right by where I was digging. And I was listening to them, and they could speak English. And they walked right by, and as they looked over, and I'm digging in the dirt, and they said, "American thinks he's going to help Haiti." And they kept walking. And I thought, okay, that's maybe the attitude. An American thinks he's going to help Haiti. I felt like, okay, I can't change the entire country, but I can help these kids at this orphanage by doing what we're doing in terms of building gardens, showing them the value of sustainability, and maybe that's the attitude that's out there, you know, with some of the kids that are in the neighborhood, but that's not going to persuade me to change the direction that I feel like God's put in my heart. So, as Jennifer mentioned, there are two ways that I can think of in terms of helping Haiti. One of them is financial support and things that you can do here, creating things, the swimsuits, the dresses, all those things are huge. So financial support. The other is physical support. You know, just partnering with us in terms of going to Haiti. You know, just saying, okay, I don't know exactly what to do and how to do this, but I'm willing to go on the front lines and fly there and do whatever it takes. So we asked Nicole to pray before coming here today to be able to share with you what's the number one need. And really what she's been praying about, what we've been praying about, and we really feel like God has put this on our heart, and specifically Nicole's heart and the staff at the orphanage, is they really want to be sustainable. And one of the ways to do that is with the gardens, so that they don't have to buy food, they can just harvest the vegetables and the fruit and so forth. The other is there's a little piece of land that is right behind, it's adjacent to the area that we built the gardens, and she's trying to purchase that land. And then what she wants to do is build chicken coops on the land, and then buy some chickens, and then be able to have the eggs each morning and so forth. And then the other is rabbits and goats. So those are two different, or three different, basically animal groups that they can use in terms of in terms of harvesting the eggs or you know, being able to be more sustainable with those types of animals. And so part of it is building the infrastructure, building the chicken coops and building the goat pens and, you know, rabbit hutches and so forth. And so if that's something that, you know, you're thinking, I don't know exactly how to build that, but if you have a willing heart, we would help and just show you, you know, what it takes to do the job. But in the location where the orphanage is, there's a group of, I mean, just basically the houses and the people who are around there would greatly benefit from what she's trying to do with the kids in the orphanage. And so it's not just about helping the 40 kids who are in the orphanage, but she has a vision that God has placed in her heart of helping that entire community. And so to be able to give away eggs, give away vegetables, and be able to share the gospel as she's able to do that. And so God put on her heart a project called Love Thy Neighbor, and it's basically an option to give away what God has blessed them with. And so we're planning another trip this upcoming summer, and so like in, you know, June and July area, sometime in that time period. And if you feel like that's something that God is putting on your heart in terms of helping either physically by going or financially or in any other way that God's putting on your heart, we would ask you to pray about that and then just get in touch with Jim, let him know that you're interested. He can put you in touch with us. So we're planning to go in 2018 in the summer and basically go in and help her with the chicken, goat, and rabbit project. And we would, you know, highly encourage anybody who has that on their heart to come and partner with us. So again, thank you so much for all your financial support, your support in so many other ways. I know it's huge for the kids in Haiti, and it's life-changing for me and for my family, as you can tell. So that's it.
It died.
Thank you guys so much. That's a great presentation, and I know that everybody was really moved by that. So these guys are going to have to go out because they're underage. But I'd like to just give a moment if anybody has a specific question that you'd like to pose to any of them. We'd take a minute to do that, answer any questions. Yes, I can. Not young? Up here. This is Nai Young. She's from South Korea, and this is her third year of living with Brett and Jennifer in Rivers and Ridge. She's going to Ambrose Christian School. She'll graduate this year, and she's come here to get her education here because it's going to better enable her to get in a good college in the United States because she wants to go. That's not true.
She's going back home to go to college.
Oh, really? That's changed. The other idea was before. Well, that's great. Okay, but anyway, she'll be here this year, and we'll go back to South Korea next year and start college. So she's sort of like part of the family. So. Okay, anyone have a question? Yes.
Why didn't you build the garden rectangular, like round?
Oh, great question.
So, after much research and communicating with a woman in Texas who builds gardens all over Africa, it was a sustainability. Reason. They're called keyhole gardens, and the gardens are essentially, once they're established, self-watering and self-feeding. So the whole garden is built on a compost pile with about 12 inches of soil on the top, and so it composts underneath. And then you saw the tube in the center.
You take all of your table scraps and any peels, anything organic, and you put it in there, and it composts into the garden. And the circle is because once the garden is large, if it was in a rectangle, you couldn't get to the composter. And it's all science. It's 6 feet in diameter with a 1 foot diameter composter. And she has studied it in every single stage for many years, and it works all over Africa. Yeah. Yeah. They're amazing. You should look her up, Keyhole Gardens. They're amazing. Her name's Deb. I can't remember her name, but Deb. Yeah. Dr. Deb.
Okay, good question.
You need to get Robert and Ladydale with you. They're chicken people.
Yeah,
And garden people.
can you dig your garden and can you sweat?
Yeah, and garden people.
Yeah.
What is the availability of materials, like you want to build chicken houses and rabbit hutches and those types of things? What's the availability?
Well, here's the availability. A roll of chicken wire that cost us about $13 cost us $65 there. It's insane because it's an island, it's completely impoverished, everything is imported, and they just rip people off. But there is a place in Port-au-Prince that's similar to Home Depot, and what our plan is to have the money raised for the supplies by 2 months before we go so that we can place our order and have it delivered. I don't want it to deliver too early because people steal stuff, but I want to have it delivered right when we get there. So yes, there's availability, it's just super expensive.
We prayed for you about cardboard.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you got the cardboard?
Yes, Ridge and I went into Port-au-Prince one day, and we went into this place. It's MDX or something like that. And so the guy was like, no cardboard. Emmanuel, my interpreter, the lead worker at the house, he's like, no, they gave it away. I'm like, Emmanuel, there's like 4,000 boxes here. There's no way there's no cardboard. Ask again. And he asked the guy, and the guy's like, no cardboard. I'm like, okay, forget it. I will go ask myself. So I just tracked people down. I saw some white woman, and she looked like she knew what she was doing, so I was like, I need cardboard. She was like, oh yeah, I know this guy who runs the place. I'll talk to him. Before I know it, a bus full of cardboard. You just have to persist. Any other questions?
Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming and sharing. And also, as they've already done, Blue, and I'd like to say again, thank you for your generous gifts and all that enabled them to go to this. I think about what, $5,000? No, $2,400 came from the church toward your trip.
I think it was like 2,600.
2,600. And then, of course, the regular thing that we give each month. But, yeah, that was a great benefit. The plane tickets, now, they were going to be how much originally a person?
Probably about 2,000.
Okay. So tell them what you did.
We flew on 4 different airlines. Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to get to Haiti on 4 different airlines, not changing planes of the same airlines? I don't know how they did it.
Lots of research.
Yeah, so God really blessed in just that initiative to, so it turned out you got them for what? All of them?
2,400 for the whole family.
2,400 is over
I've
against 8,000.
got this nailed, so if you guys want to come with us, and like I said, you're willing to work hard and sweat, we will figure it out. We'll get it done.
Okay, that's pretty neat. All right, well, praise God for all of this. It's certainly been a wonderful thing. And we, this is something that sometimes you give to things and you never really know in the back of your mind, is this money being really used right or whatever? So this gives us hands-on information about what's happening there and what's going on. So thank you guys. All right, we will now get started with the rest of our service. Jim.